With set 12 releasing soon, we have to ask ourselves again which units can beat the early PvE stages by themselves. In case you're wondering why this topic is interesting, it's all about money. Speaking of money, did you know subscribing is completely free? It allows me to keep making videos about TFT and showcase dumb interactions like this Mittens fishbone smolder that acts more like a mosquito than a dragon. He reminds me of like that one fly keeping you awake. Going back to the topic on hand, unless a specific portal is selected, you should have a total of 9 gold in stage 1-4. In the last PvE stage, you can also expect a grey orb containing 2 gold, so running a single tier 1 unit that is capable of beating stage 1-4 allows you to reach 10 gold and therefore gain 1 bonus gold of interest going into stage 2. Now this topic comes up every set, but for some reason some players are still spreading the rumor that early gold interest doesn't work, but this has been disproven every single time. It doesn't matter when you reach 10 gold for the first time, you will receive the bonus interest no matter what. Now the reason why players sometimes aim for this strategy is because maximizing your gold can often lead to reaching a new threshold faster, therefore creating a small snowball effect. Since you're not collecting any units, usually the strategy aims to lose streak in stage 2 and use the banked gold to stabilize in stage 3. But before we get to stage 1-4, it is also worth talking about stage 1-3. In a normal scenario, you shouldn't have enough gold for this one to be relevant, but there are a few different portals that grant players gold at the start of the game, allowing you to reach 10 gold faster than intended. For example, outside of starting with a bonus 7 gold, there are portals granting you 3 champions, a 3-cost champion, or an upgraded champion. If you're willing to sell these bonus units, it's possible for you to reach the threshold early. This covers all of the basics, so let's take a look at stage 1-3. Here we are facing 2 melee minions and 1 caster minion. With set 12, there's one somewhat relevant change to the minions, because they now have 10 magic resistance more than before. Considering how close some of the fights can be, this is definitely a nerf to any AP unit trying to beat the stage by themselves. For stage 1-3, I will separate all units into 2 different categories: safe and unsafe. For unsafe, we have Ashe, Zoe, Nomzi, Seraphine, Twitch, Ziggs, Jace and Soraka. While some of these units can beat stage 1-3 with good positioning, good crit RNG or useful item components, it is still possible for them to fail. Unless you get very lucky with your first item component being a belt or a chain vest, I would not recommend using anyone from this group. The point of the strategy is consistency, and losing to minions is pretty terrifying as you fall behind right at the start. For example, Jace and Soraka can have completely different outcomes based on their crit RNG, because it's possible for them to waste their ability twice on effectively dead minions, potentially ruining the entire fight. On the safe side, we have Blitzcrank, Elise, Jax, Lilia, Poppy and Warwick. Usually you just place them in the top right corner to minimize pathing. In the past, this positioning allowed units to reach a hex that would make their abilities hit 3 minions, but nowadays this is not a consistent strategy. Some units like Warwick can still reach this hex, but units like Lilia or Jax, where it actually matters, never appear to take this path, meaning you don't get the full value out of their ability. It doesn't feel like this pathing is completely random. For example, a Sentinel will always walk towards this specific hex, so there must be some sort of system behind it. Anyway, let's talk about stage 1-4. Now, we're still early into the PvE, and it's definitely possible for tier 1 units to get buffed or nerfed to the point that the current results are not accurate anymore. If anything should change, I will update the written guide in the description. As far as I can tell, the only reliable unit for stage 1-4 appears to be Warwick with a Giant's Belt or a Chain Vest. He has no cast animation, an integrated heal, and bonus effect against low HP targets, making him the best possible choice. He has no chance without an item, and even with a Giant's Build, some fights look rather scary if you have bad crit RNG. If you get really lucky, then Warwick can beat stage 1-4 with a bow as well, but this is so incredibly inconsistent that I would not dare to try this in a normal game. Over the course of this set, I don't believe that Warwick will stay the only unit capable of beating stage 1-4. In fact, the one unit unit that shows the most promise so far is Jax. With the help of a tier for a faster cast and good fight RNG, it is possible for him to beat stage 1-4 as well, though it really comes down to the wire. Jax grants himself a massive amount of armor for 6 seconds, so a faster cast means a lot more effective HP. Keep an eye out for any Jax buffs in future patch notes, because he is definitely one of the prime candidates to join Warwick. I should also mention, if there was a way to make Lilia consistently hit 3 minions with her first cast, she could become a viable option, but so far her pathing just does not appear to be reliable. There's one more interesting fact that I want to share that I came across while researching this topic. In the hyper roll mode, minions have a lot less HP, which means it's way easier to find setups to beat the early PvE stages. That is pretty much everything I wanted to say regarding tier 1 units. Like I mentioned, if there are new discoveries, either because of new positioning or unit buffs, I will update the written guide over the course of the new set. I hope you learned something, and see you next time.